Hello. Um, Whoever is there, say hello to me so I can see that I'm getting the comments. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. But while we're waiting, hi, Carrie Ann. While we're waiting for a few more people to show up, I wanted to talk about, hi Liz, that the importance of getting your actions right. And when I say getting your actions right, well, actually now I'm already going into the, the live stream call here. Okay, so getting your actions right. I don't mean the particulars of the actions, but the energy behind the action, because the energy behind your actions makes all the difference. And if the energy behind the action is not right, it is not going to come across as something that will activate, prospects into becoming your clients. And so it is not so much about what you're doing, but it's like what's behind the actions. And because this is all about, building a business as a spiritual entrepreneur, it's like when you have a business, there is no way of getting around having to create sales, right? If you don't have any sales, you don't have a business. It is simply really that simple. And so the actions we take when it comes to business building is actions to generate sales. And this is why the energy behind the actions matters more than the actual actions, because there's a million different actions. Yeah, in this day and age, you can take a million different actions to create the sales, right? I mean, you have YouTube, you have the Instagram, you have the social media, you have the LinkedIn, you can go to networking, you can, I don't know, if it's like depends on your business, right? But the ways of talking to your prospects has just exploded over the last few years, with the internet. Like when I was first in business for myself, it was about leaving my business cards in health food stores and gyms. I was doing massage therapy at that time, right? So I was leaving my business card in places. Who even does a business card anymore, right? But the point is that there were times when I would like put my business cards in hundreds of places, and I wouldn't get one single person call me and sign up, because the energy behind me putting the business card there, which was pretty much, I have to do it. I didn't really want to do it. I had to do it because I thought I had to do it because that was a way of generating sales. But there was like a very reluctant energy in it. There was like a dragon energy, reluctant energy. There was some resistance. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna drive around with more, business cards. Whereas at other times, I couldn't really, I just didn't put more business cards around. I didn't do the rounds, in the neighborhoods to put out the business cards. And I would be walking down the streets and somebody would stop me and ask for a massage because my energy was different. So this is why when it comes to the actions you take, because there's no way of getting out of taking actions, is whether it's a power action or not. And when I say power action, it's like, does it have the power in it to turn prospects, to magnetize people to you, both as prospects and converting prospects into clients? And I want to do this this live stream a little bit more interactive than I usually doing, because I want you to think about your own situation and give your own input, right? So when I think about actions without power, what are the actions we take? Like what is behind the actions that we take in our business that actually are unmagnetic and has no power in them. So busy work is one of them. And it is so funny because in the world of shadow alchemy, and shadow alchemy is really about becoming a master of your consciousness so that you can choose to put your money-making power on or not. It's where it's like when you really become a master of manifestation, like the like, you know, which is what shadow alchemy turns you into, is money becomes easy. It becomes really, really simple because shadow alchemy, you become a master of your consciousness, you become also a master of energy. And when you are a master of energy, you are acting always from the most powerful state of being and from the most magnetic state of being, compared to when you're acting from shadow, where there is, it's just not magnetic, it's not just retractive. But I wanted to go into a little bit more deep into it. So if you look at what actions without power, why do they not have power in them? And one of them is busy work, right? And that was why I was thinking of shadow alchemy. It's in the busy work is to avoid your shadows, right? You would rather go and, you know, do your Excel sheets or, you know, crawl Facebook or write another post rather than facing your shadow and alchemizing it. Because keeping busy, it kind of fools yourself into believing that you're actually really working on your business, when what you're doing is, because it's busy work, it is not, you know, based in power, it's based in avoiding, you know, your shadow. Means that, you know, it's just busy work, it's just taking up your time, but it's not generating results. Another reason, you know, another kind of actions that have no power in them are the actions that we think we should take because some authority figure has told us that those are the things we need to do in order to generate sales. And as I'm going through these, you know, I want you to think about, you know, what actions, you know, what are behind your actions? Why do you take actions that don't have power in them? You know, where are they coming from? So another kind, so these actions we should, these are very much, one of them is like when you're taking, like working with a coach or in a program and they tell you take this action, this action, this action, you should do these actions and they should give you results, but they won't if there's not the right energy behind it. Another one, I just had it and I forgot it. Oh, it's like engagement, right? It's like you should always keep on creating more and more content so that you stay relevant, so that people pay attention to you, so that they don't forget you. But the only reason people will forget you is if your actions, like your marketing actions, has no power in them. If they have power and magnetism, if they are hypercharged, supercharged with power and magnetism, there's no way they're going to forget you. They're going to keep coming back to your Facebook or your Instagram or your YouTube, whatever, you know, hoping to see something new, because what you create, you know, the actions you take has a lot of power in them. Another action, powerless action, or what makes an action powerless, if it is based in wanting somebody's approval. Now that can be a mentor, it can be tied in with the should, or it could be, you know, I don't know, it's like just to get likes on Facebook is one example. We all know that a dinner post, or, you know, like there's certain kind of posts that people really like. And so there's like, when you post these to get the number of likes, there's an amount of, you want people's approval, you want them to pay attention to you, they want you want them to approve of what you are creating. Boredom. If you create something just to create something, but you're not really inspired, you're kind of bored, boredom has no magnetic energy in it. Now, there's another kind of, and I'm talking a lot about marketing posts here, because it's kind of where my focus is, but it goes for all actions you take, right? It's like becoming relatable, being relatable, rather than somebody who, because being relatable, being seen as relatable, being perceived as relatable, it gets you approval, but it very seldom gets you sales, because relatability is not powerful. It says a bit of power in it, but like the really massive, super magnetic, super powerful things, actions you can take, taking actions for relatability is, the whole social media world is, even blog posts and sometimes even, the news is filled with relatability. And it might have had power once, but it doesn't have power anymore because now everybody's doing it. So relatability gets you, oh yeah, it's like, I know exactly what she's talking about. I feel that for myself. Gone, right? It's like it has no sticking power. It is not something that people stay around. There is another kind of actions, are actions that are taken with the ulterior motive of creating results. So again, thinking about, like a marketing post is like, if they're written specifically to get sales, there's an element of manipulation in it, right? And people can smell it from far away. The world is not like it was. So when you write with that ulterior motive, like there's this element of manipulation in it, it's not magnetic energy, right? And then there's another kind of actions when it comes to marketing, is sharing to gain sympathy, right? It's like thinking when I was writing my notes, it's like kind of like TMI, too much information that doesn't really matter, except like, yeah, I get to see that you had a hard life. So what? I had a hard life too. It's like ties in with the relatability. And even when you go into sales conversations, it's very easy when you have a sales conversation with somebody and when you're handling objections, it's like, are you understanding of where they're at? Do you like, where, yeah, so great, you're awesome. It's like a false cheerleading. It's like too extreme, because all they are really, is like, yeah, it's a sale, it's not like, yay. And the other thing is like being understanding with people's objections, with people's excuses. Yeah, I understand you don't have the money right now. Whereas, when you're handling from a position of power, your response would be very, very different. So I want you to think for yourself, and you can even comment here, is like, what actions do you know you're taking that is coming from a place of you not owning your power to create results? Because what we're looking at here is like, how can we power up, hypercharge the magnetism of our actions so that we begin to create results? And how can we do that? Yeah, we do shadow alchemy. But so it's like, look at where are your actions coming from? Yeah, actions for results. Yeah. So the manipulation part. So there's a very different energy in actions that are coming from a place of power, where you are completely and utterly in your power. And even where you can take action specifically to get into your power, even if you aren't at the time of posting, because that's, you have powerless actions, you have power actions, and you have alchemizing actions. Those are the three different kind of actions you have. So one of the most powerful post kind of actions you can take, it's not one of the most, it's like the most powerful actions you can take, are always the ones that are the purest truth, the unapologetic, the uncompromising, the bold, the blunt truth. Now, it can still be done elegantly, but there is no softening the blunt truth. And when you want to share something from your own life, because, it's like this is what sells these days, right? It's like part of what sells is like sharing where you are at, but share it not to get approval or not to create relatability, but share it to blow people's minds of how you took a hard time and turned it into power, how you took struggle and turned it into pure power. It's like, that's what people want, right? This is what people want to see. You don't need them to sympathize with you, or you don't need to be relatable. You want to show that, hey, I can do this for myself, and I can do this for you always. Yes, you always pull back from the blunt truth. Yeah, you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to hurt anybody. What if they get angry at you? And also, this was the shadow I had to face around this, like being afraid of, wielding the sharp blade of truth, was, what if I get it wrong and it destroys somebody, and then it will be all my fault, right? And I was also, what if people get angry at me? It's like there's shadows around truth speaking. There's a lot of shadows around truth speaking. And, it's funny we talk about truth, because shadow is always a lie. So it can never steer you right. Shadow is always, a lie. It's an illusion. What it tells you is wrong, wrong, wrong. It's bullshit. So when you tell the truth and dare to speak the bare truth, the bare bones truth, it's like you are going to break through people's shadows. Yeah, you're going to break through people's shadows. And this is what they want, right? There is so much power in truth telling. So much power in truth telling. And when it comes with truth telling, comes honesty also. Honesty and truth telling comes together. So another action that doesn't have any power in it is to the image. Let me just add it to my notes. It's like where you write post as who you want people to see you as, like somebody who has it all together, rather than from where you're at right now. Because it's like the power is always in the moment. It's like there's no power in pretend reality. So Liz, you're saying the relatable thing, you have shadow. Yeah. I think they would just say, that's okay for you, but not for me, or not understand me. All shadow, yeah, all shadow. And you don't really care about people understanding you. You want people to get activated by you. You want to live what they wish they were living, which is the purest of truth. Not hiding anything in shame, like just be boldly, audaciously, outrageously about who you are, not in a shadow way, but in a powerful truth-telling way. Elegant, definitely elegant and graceful. So the honesty about who you are in this moment, not putting up a false image of who you are and what you have achieved, that doesn't mean you can't share things about, what is this a place that you want to go to, but the honesty is lying in, it's like, I might not be there yet, but this is where I am right now, and this is where my power is right now, because the only power is always in the present moment. Your power is not in the future. When you have achieved, when you have become the successful person you want to become, it's always here right now. And there will always be ideal clients who can afford you, right? An ideal client is somebody who can afford you. An ideal client for where you're at right now. Always, always, always. So another thing I touched on before is like another powerful kind of post is busting myth, because there's a lot of myth around there, right? It's like just like here right now, I'm busting the myth of relatability. People don't care about relatability. Relatability is everywhere. They want somebody to crack them out of their prison of the shadow they're in. And when you do that, when you take actions from the place of cracking people's shadows to break them out of the shadow prison, that has a lot of power in it. Because cracking the shadow, like setting them free from shadow, is always done with truth. The sharp blade of truth is the only thing that will cut people free from shadow, that will set them free from shadow. And it's painful, right? So this is why you can't care about approval, because there's going to be people who are not going to approve of this blunt truth, where you're holding up like a mirror and saying, hey, you're stuck in shadow, and this is how you get out. Like people are attached to their shadows, right? It's like they're very attached to the shadows. It's like an ongoing problem for everybody who does shadow alchemy. It's like very attached to shadows. So, you can bust the myths, like one about relatability or seeking approval, in the actions, or even like busting the myths around sales, like the one where I can understand that you don't have any money, and just come back to me later, rather than saying, well, do you have access to money from elsewhere? Do you have another source of income? It's like staying with it, it's like, it's almost like pushing them into, their shadow collapsing, where the illusion that the shadow has created is going to collapse under the weight or the constant cutting of your truth. So these are actions that are coming from your power, right? And another thing in how I would look in a sales conversation is I remember one sales conversation I had where I was talking with like a one-on-one client about coming into a 50K package. And, she was about the money and, oh, that's so much money, and can I commit? And, all the typical fears of, investing your money in it. And I just asked her one question, right? Because this was really the truth of, that was my sharp label of truth. It's like, how much does your business matter to you? How much does your business matter to you? And she signed on, and did the first payment on the call, because her business mattered that much to me. It mattered more than shadow. And this is where it wasn't like a rude question, but it was like a very pointed question that really went to the heart of the matter. How much did your business matter to you? So that question was asked from power. I wasn't saying, yeah, I can understand there's a lot of money and maybe you need to think about it and let me know when you have made decision. It's like, no, how much does this matter to you? And I was just in a sales conversation yesterday with somebody who said, well, normally I will know it will resonate, it will resonate with me. But resonating with what's familiar to you. It's going to resonate with your comfort zone, right? So there's going to be a lot of shadow in it. That's what it's going to resonate. So in order to really break out the shadow, which is the whole point here, right? We want to get out of shadow and get into our power of, manifesting so that we can manifest on demand, is you can't wait for resonating, because then you'll just keep on staying stuck in your shadow over and over and over. Resonating can't matter, like resonating alignment. It can't matter because you're waiting for it to resonate with what you already know, right? This is what resonance is. It's like resonating with what you already know. And this whole coming into your power as, a master manifester, it is so unfamiliar to you. It is so far outside your comfort zone. It's not out of reach, but it's out of your comfort zone, because otherwise you wouldn't be here listening to this, that you can't wait for resonating. It's not just going to happen. Just not going to happen. So how do you know? So then there's the alchemizing actions, which I wanted to talk about. So these were the powerless actions, the power actions, and then we have the alchemizing actions. Because shadow alchemy goes hand in hand with actions. Because when it comes to manifesting in the 3D world, you will have to take actions. There's a question, which actions, right? And when you take actions, you want to take them from your intuition, because your intuition exists in another dimension, right? It's connected, it's your soul, it's your spirit, whatever you want to call it. It is non-human. It is not part of your human. It's like beyond your human. This is what intuition is. It's like there's a knowledge that doesn't make logical sense, but where your intuition exists is outside time and space. It's beyond time and space, right? So where your intuition exists, when it's outside time, it means that past, present, and future is all the same thing. It is all right here, right now. So the future for the intuition is now, the past for the intuition is now, but we don't really care about the past because we don't want to repeat the past. So what your mind will do is, because your mind can only recreate what it already knows, because this is what it's focused on, it can recreate what it knows. If you want something new, you've got to get into, following your intuition, because it will send you down new tracks. Whereas if you come from your mind, it will just be a slightly different versions of something you already know. And you already know that if you do the same old, you're going to keep getting the same old. If you keep being the same old person, you're going to keep getting the same old results. You're going to keep on, because you're keeping on doing the same things. So this is about taking actions that helps you also become the different person that then takes the different actions that then get different results, right? It's being, doing, having. It's like they all interwoven here. So the intuition, existing as it is beyond the space-time, it knows the future, right? The future for your intuition is also right now. So intuition knows the shortest path from where you are at to where you want to be. Now take that in. Intuition is what knows the shortest path from where you are to where you want to be. Intuition, not a coach. There'll be some coaches like me that has the ability to, to look into the future, like when I do the Genius Business Activation and bring it in. But most coaches know they can't pull the future towards you. It's like intuition is that. So with Shadow Alchemy, the whole point is always coming into follow intuition unquestioningly, because that's the fastest, the shortest path, because the intuition knows the fastest path to what you want to have, whether it's like 10K months or 20K months or 25 people in your program or 1,000 people in your membership, right? It's like intuition is always gonna take you there. So intuition is not gonna tell you, only seldom is it gonna tell you to do something that's really, really comfortable. Because the fastest path is not part of your comfort zone. You already know your comfort zone, right? It's like where you do the same thing over and over and over again, you keep getting the same results. It's like where you keep being the same person that keeps doing the same things, they keep getting the same results. Intuition is going to take you out of your comfort zone, because that's where your desire lives. Comfort zone is the same old, same old. New results, new life exists outside your comfort zone. And this is where this is the only thing your intuition cares about, is getting you from here to there the fastest possible way. And because your new results is outside your comfort zone, your new life is outside the comfort zone, yeah, it's gonna show you actions, tell you to take actions that are gonna be horrifying. They're gonna be really, really scary, and they're not gonna be logical. They're not going to be logical at all. They're still the fastest path, right? This is why it's like you have to, it takes a lot of faith, right? It takes a lot of faith to give up the control of your mind to get the results, because the mind wants to be in control. This is what shadow is about, right? Shadow is all fear. And when you have fear, you want to be in control, right? Fear leads to control. Fear feeds control. If you have no fear, you can just trust. There's no reason to be in control. Command, yes. Control, no. So intuition can tell you to do extremely, extremely illogical things. And one of the things I'm remembering right now was in the summer of 2019, when I was really, 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 working on following my intuition. I was in the middle of the launch for a program, and I had done like a 5-day challenge, Facebook challenge. And the deadline was coming up for when the programs were starting. And intuition says, take 4 days off. I was like, what? You want me to take 4 days off now where I need to do more, put more effort into this launch and, the promotion, and you want me to get completely offline for 4 days? And it's like my mind couldn't comprehend it. But okay, I had committed myself to not question my intuition and follow it completely. So each day of those 4 days, I would just, okay, what does my intuition tell me to do today? Go to the beach. And I would get on the train, take the train for an hour and a half to go to the beach, spend the day there, come back. So the next day, what does intuition want me to do? Oh, go to a museum. So I went to the archaeological museum, and so the Egyptian exhibitions would then triggered a whole bunch of things, beautiful things. And then I can't remember what I did the other 2 days. But those 4 days, it's like I trusted intuition to just completely move away from this whole thing I was promoting for 4 days, rather than, which is a terrifying thing to do when you just clock is ticking, the deadline is coming, you have a goal of X amount of people. So I did get the people. Taking those 4 days out did wonders for my energy. right? It like really hypercharged my energy again. But if I had stayed with, you know, like just promoting more and more and more, my energy would have become low frequency because I actually needed to do something different to get to charge my energy again. So this is how intuition works, right? So a lot of these actions that intuition tells you to take, they are going to be really, really terrifying. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't take them. It means that you take those actions and then you can fall completely apart afterwards, you know, tell me all about it, you know, I've done a ton of that. You take the actions and then you alchemize the shadows afterwards. Because actions that you are guided by your intuition to take will do one of two things. It will either roll out the red carpet for, you know, your goal to come into come into physical reality. It's like rolling out the red carpet so that people can walk right in, you know, into your dream life. Or it will expose shadows that are holding the trapped or the shadows that has trapped the exact power and magnetism that you need to release in order to become the energetic match for your goal. Because this is what manifesting is. It's about becoming the energetic match for your goal. So exposing shadow is, as horrible as it feels, you know, like, let's be honest about this, you know, exposing shadows is not fun. It does not feel good. But when you alchemize these exposed shadows, it frees so much power and it frees so much magnetism. And it's such a freedom. Intuition and genius is not the same thing. Intuition is the light grid, genius into the dark. And shadow alchemy is done, you know, from shadow to light, on the way to be able to work with the dark. So this is beginning place before you can move into the dark and work with genius. And shadow alchemy, it's because whether you are in the dark or not, you have to be able to really, really, really nail the specific shadows in order to alchemize it, whether you use shadow alchemy or chaos alchemy in the dark, you know, where you work with the dark and hyper archetypes. And this is what shadow alchemy gives you, is the skills, the ability, the knowledge to learn how to identify the shadow and how to break free of it. Because when you're in the dark, you know, you can still hyperpower your light archetype. So it's not that you ever go into the light. But you get the freedom from shadow, which then when you go into the dark, you know, you have some more options. But you can't skip shadow alchemy because you need to learn how to identify the correct shadow and alchemize it and free the trapped power and magnetism. And then at one point you're gonna, you know, you have alchemized enough shadows that you can then unhook from the light grid and move into the dark. And how long that takes, you know, depends, you know, how committed, devoted, submitted are you to doing shadow alchemy? You know, how long is the fuse for the dark? You know, I'm one of these people that has taken a long time to do it. And Sanika, you know, is one, she's like, she's right into it. You know, it's just different from every person. It doesn't matter. So intuition will often just tell you these actions, scary actions, and they will either roll out the red carpet, you know, for your goal to walk right up to you, or it will expose shadows that then needs to be alchemized. And what most people do is that they will take the actions and, you know, scary actions, you know, we all have to do that, but they won't alchemize the shadow. They will just kind of like begin to loop in the shadow again. It's like they don't free the trapped power and magnetism in the shadow. And so it becomes like this endless loop where they don't really get anywhere new, right? It's just like kind of a regurgitation of the same thing, even if the details may look a bit different, but the business is never really moving to the place where they want to get it, and they're not really creating the money overflow that they want. So, and it's kind of funny, right? Because shadow alchemy and actions go hand in hand. You do one, it's like you alchemize your shadows, and that will make clear which actions you take, and then you will get an intuitive hit to take an action, which will then expose more shadows, right? They just go hand in hand. And the funny thing is that you can do one too much in order to avoid the other, right? So people can get focused on alchemizing the shadows all the time, so that to avoid taking the massively terrifying actions, or they can get so busy taking actions, this is busy work, they can get so focused on taking actions because they want to avoid the shadows, right? It's like funny how it can go both ways. Those are actually where the whole idea from this live stream came from. So, which is why, it's so important to come into a container where you can have somebody help you see what's true. It's like, are you avoiding shadow, or are you avoiding actions? Because shadow is going to fool you. Shadow is like, it can fool you to believe that you're doing the right thing. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, right? So coming back to intuition, right? Because this is really where all our actions should be coming from. It's like, to be able to follow intuitions, you got to have faith. And you got to have faith in yourself also, right? It's like, you got to have faith in your own power. So it's taking actions in faith really makes you come face to face with all the places in your life where you're not owning your power, aka shadow, right? So Navid was asking a question at one point. It's like, what kind of person would you be if you took a decision based on faith in yourself, as opposed to the one who plays it safe? Because the one who plays it safe, right, is like, I need to invest this money in something else, or I had set this money aside for rent, or it's like just around money, right? I can't do it now. I'm already in another program. So it's too much for me to handle. So I'm going to play it safe and wait with it. Or it doesn't resonate with me, right? That's playing it safe also, because the reason it doesn't resonate is because it's outside your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is shadow, So, but I want you to really, yes. Oh, hi, Tracy. Yes, all actions, not enough alchemy. Are you coming into either the shadow alchemy or the chaos alchemy, right? Yeah. And this is why it's so important that if you really want to get into your power, you got to have faith in yourself and the actions that are going to get you to the power. Like I was mentioning this example of, I was talking with somebody about coming into the Shadow Alchemy Mastermind, and she was talking about it doesn't resonate with, it's like the reason I was talking with her about the Shadow Alchemy Mastermind was because she had a lot of shadows. And then I said, yeah, I had a feeling, I heard that you need to come into the Shadow Alchemy Mastermind. And she said, but it doesn't resonate with me. Of course it won't resonate with you, right? Shadow doesn't want you to go into the shadow alchemy. There's no way it's going to make you resonate with it, because shadow exists for one reason only, and that's to keep you safe. And it keeps you safe by keeping you stuck in your comfort zone, and it keeps you safe by keeping you small, playing it safe all the time. That shadow's purpose, to keep you safe. So yeah, you can play it safe and let your life keep on being controlled by shadow. That's totally your decision. But if that's not what you want, you have to dare take actions that don't resonate, that don't align, that looks crazy, and still have faith that those are the actions that will actually get you to become a master of manifesting, on the way to become a master of creation, when you go into, the Elixirium and becoming a true code master, which is like, like building on shadow alchemy, where shadow alchemy is first the beginning. If you really want to win over shadow, you have to do the unnatural thing, right? The natural thing is you want to wait until you resonate, until it feels comfortable, right? Until you feel comfortable with taking that action. And you can't do that, because this is where the fight for your life starts, right? Are you going to keep doing what feels comfortable, what you resonate with, what you feel aligned with? Because this is one of the myths that you can bust that is so prevalent in the light worker world, right? It's like you have to resonate with it. If you resonate with it, if you feel aligned with it, none of that matters, because that's all shadow. It's all shadow codes, like just, do I feel comfortable with it is basically what it is. And it's going to feel uncomfortable, it's because it's outside your comfort zone, and it's going to feel unnatural. And I still remember when, there's a reason why I'm, the trainer for, why I'm the shadow alchemy trainer for Wild Dynasty. It's because I have done the unnatural thing over and over and over again since I first came into the world of shadow alchemy. It's like I've invested in it over and over and over again, where my mind has been screaming, stupid, stupid, stupid. You have no savings, you own nothing, you have debts. And I keep investing in it because I want my power. I don't want to live my life according to shadow. It's like, I want to live my genius. And I've just gone for it. The crazy times, and I have failed, and I have picked myself up and done it again. None of that matters, and you guys know that I had to give up my business. I had to give up my business in order to live my genius, which is, teaching and coaching shadow alchemy, and, will also be the chaos alchemy. But this is my genius to do that, but I had to give up my business to get here, right? I was like, did that feel good? No. Did it feel comfortable? Absolutely no. Did it bring up a lot of shadows? You have no fucking clue how much shadow this brought up. And I still did it, right? It's like, against all reasonableness, against all logic, I did it. So, and that's a power action, right? And, I've been busy alchemizing my shadows, as a fallout, right? Like take the action, close my business, and then deal with all the shadows that comes up. But this is how you get to a new place in life. You don't get to a new place by saying, yes, I realize I have a shadow. Yes, I see I have a shadow. Like, just knowing you have a shadow is like so far from actually alchemizing in order to free the trapped power and magnetism in there. Because the beautiful thing about shadow alchemy is, like, when you alchemize shadows, it will unlock sales. Maybe not instantly, maybe sometimes, right? It's like, I had the glorious, glorious example, which I don't know if you're still here, Carrie Ann, but I was doing shadow alchemy. I can't even remember what it was about. And this was just this brilliant example of it, right? I was doing shadow alchemy a while ago. And then within an hour, Carrie told me that she had sold a genius business activation. And the timing is no coincidence, right? I've had people, you know, my clients where, you know, they have had an $8,000 sale within a week of working with me, or they hit the first 20K months, you know, after just working with me with a month, where we just like drill down into their shadows and like alchemizing those shadows. Is like suddenly all this power and magnetism brings the money overflow, right? Which is what we're in business for creating, you know. It's like, you know, let's be honest, we are in our own business because we want money overflow. And to create that money overflow, and I think it's very, very much about spiritual entrepreneurs. This is a real challenge for them because we have so much shadow around money, right? It's like the whole thing, like money is not spiritual, right? It's like we have so much shadow around money and business success, you know, and how it's not spiritual. So there's like massive amounts of shadow around it, which is why shadow alchemy becomes even more important if you actually want to get that, you know, like that money overflow and that business success. And I think the beautiful part of this is like shadow alchemy, more than anything else, is a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual awakening, right? Because shadow is not spiritual. There's nothing spiritual about shadow because it's all a lie. I'm going to say many times, shadow is all a lie, right? That we have been taught to believe is truth. And there's nothing spiritual about shadow. I have this equation I made at one point, like God equals love equals truth. So God is the ultimate source of love and is the ultimate source of truth, right? So the more truth you have in your life, the more love you'll have in your life, but also the more truth you have in your life, the more God you have, the more spiritual. Like spirituality is truth, and there's no truth in shadow. And the lovely thing is, like the whole journey of shadow alchemy, it just releases this power constantly, you know, frees. Every time you alchemize a shadow, it frees the trapped energy, it frees the trapped magnetism, which then shows up as more money in your life, which is what we want. Right. So guys, if you really care about making money, creating money overflow, which I assume you do since you're here, Shadow Alchemy Mastermind, guys, there's no way around it. There's no shortcut. And because if there was, you would already be doing it because you have been searching, right? You've been searching for what is the thing that will help me make more money. And shadow alchemy is it. And you can't think about doing shadow alchemy. You just gotta have to throw yourself right into it and do the work. You can't look at it from the outside. You can't dabble in shadow alchemy. You can't understand shadow alchemy and get the results. You gotta be doing it with the extreme precision it requires, which you got to come into the alchemy to learn. And, you know, the whole thing is like also, you can't see your own shadows sometimes. You can't see what you can't see. You can't see your own blind spots, which is why, you know that this is what you do for other people too, right? It's like you're the one who shows them the blind spots. So this is it, you know, the Shadow Alchemy Mastermind is your place to alchemize the fuck out of your shadows so that you can create money overflow and become the master of manifestation, which you're meant to be before you go on to become a master of creation with the Code Mastery. But yeah, no excuses. And you think you have no money? Find the money. Find the money, because you definitely have the power to do that. Okay, guys. Any other questions, you can put them here. If you want to know about the Shadow Alchemy Mastermind, there's an application process. Send me a PM and I'll send you the application form, the link to the application. Okay. See you around.